Luxury Grand Tourers are some of the best cars on the market in my opinion. They navigate that sweet line between being super high performance and super high luxury. I love going on road trips, and all 5 of these cars do an amazing job of going on a beautiful road trip around Europe. I've done some very low price ranges in the past. We're going to go up to 100k on this video. This is probably as high as I will go, to look at some cars that have depreciated down a bunch. Let's get straight into it. Hit like if you like this kind of content, subscribe as well if you're new. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. The Mercedes SL class has always been a great contender in the Grand Tourer cum sports car class, and the most recent generation has definitely taken another step up in my books, taking a bunch of design inspiration from the AMG GT. It has quite a controversial engine in it though, a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 combined with a special electric exhaust gas turbo to make it a mild hybrid, which puts out 375 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 4.7 seconds, which absolutely makes sense from an environmental and efficiency perspective, but compare it to every other car on this list and you see that when it comes to luxury Grand Tourers, it probably should be a bit more aggressive than that. It also makes it one of the most expensive 2-litre turbocharged inline-4s in the world, as on release last year these were around £110,000, which adjusted for inflation at the end of this year would have been £117,000, but already today you'll find early examples starting at around £79,000, with our 100k limit getting you a low mileage 2023 model, so immediate depreciation on all of them. That means a decrease of almost 33% in 1 year, which is crazy stuff, and that's assuming the car had 0 spec options from factory. This is the 7th generation SL class, with some incredibly special and sought after ancestors of course. It's a bit of a change for Mercedes too, from the Benz branding to the AMG branding exclusively, and this is the replacement for the AMG GT Roadster, hence the similar stylings make a bit more sense. And it is exclusively a soft top Roadster, which moves away from the predecessors, which most recently had been hard top convertibles, but is in line with the AMG GT being a soft top too. I personally really like the look of the interior on these, and having sat in one, they do actually feel a lot better quality than some of the previous generations of Mercedes. That engine is also much lighter than the V8 you'll find in the SL55 and 63, meaning you actually get a bunch more agility, which you can genuinely feel out on the roads. It's too new to start talking about reliability and common problems yet, but that engine has had plenty of time to cement itself in the Mercedes lineup. Generally, the main complaint is with the engine not having quite enough performance for the car you're driving, but considering prices are already well on their way down, it could be a bargain one day. Next up, we have probably the biggest big dog on this list when it comes to the luxury department, the Rolls-Royce Wraith, which truly defines what it is to be a luxury Grand Tourer, even if you typically won't see these much outside of their natural habitat, and by that I mean cruising around Mayfair in London. From that small engine in the Merc, we're onto a complete different end of the spectrum now, a 6.6 litre twin turbocharged V12, which produces 624 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 4.6 seconds, which is all about ensuring that the car wafts along nicely in pure luxury with no problems handling any situation you throw at it. On release in 2014, these were £235,000, which would be £310,000 adjusted for inflation, but as of only very recently, these have dropped down to under 100k, starting at around £93,000, with 100k getting a 2014 model with around 60k on it. That means total depreciation of around 70% and annually just under 8%, which actually isn't that bad given its age, but almost 220k is still a lot of money to lose. This replaced the Phantom Coupe and was built on the Ghost platform, and it is not a driver's car in any sense of the word. Everything is supposed to be as easy for the driver and occupants as possible. That said, it's definitely a Rolls-Royce to drive as opposed to be driven in, but it is still focused on offering some of the most ridiculous luxuries in the automotive world. It has bespoke Rolls-Royce audio, optional Starlight headliner, a glass roof, the most exceptional quality leather and wood used throughout, as well as lamb's wool floor mats and equivalently extravagant options. Tech-wise, they're crazy too, with night vision, an over-the-top heads-up display, and most interestingly, GPS sensors for the transmission to ensure the automatic gear changes happen in line with the bumps in the road to ensure the engine is always smooth and quiet. Ignition coils offer the main common problem on these, which can be quite difficult to replace given the size of that engine and the number of cylinders as well. There have also been known issues with fuel pumps, but generally it's the actual money you spend at fuel pumps that are going to be eye-watering on these. Maintenance costs are broadly very expensive, even small bits like insurance are crazy money. A leading competitor competitor to the Wraith, and a car that has gotten dramatically more interesting with its most recent generation is this, the Bentley Continental GT, which arguably has the most ridiculous powertrain on this list, a 6-litre twin-turbocharged W12 engine, which makes 626 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 3.6 seconds, and it's only really VW Group cars that even still sport those W-style engines nowadays. That engine is entirely hand-built, and is effectively an enhanced and more powerful version of the one that you find in the Bentayga. Like the Wraith, these have only recently dropped below our 100k limit, starting now at around £95,000, and 100k will get you a 2018 model with 25,000 miles on it. Adjusted for inflation from their release 5 years ago, they would have cost you £198,000 in today's money, which means total depreciation of 52% and annual depreciation of just over 10%, making it the second fastest depreciating car on the list right now, though it's also the second newest car, so do consider that. It actually sits on the same platform as the Panamera, but the focus was on uprating the total package with the lighter body, longer wheelbase and more luxurious looks both outside and into the previous generation cars. Like the Wraith, the interior is incredibly luxurious, not quite on the same level, but this car is slightly more driver focused and is the kind of car you can chuck around a little bit more. I mean, Bentley literally did their press releases at Silverstone with people throwing them sideways. It actually comes as both a coupe and convertible, and I'll be honest, both are stunning, but my favourite is actually the soft top with the roof down. The thing looks so aggressive and brash in all the right ways. It does also come as a V8, but given the W12 came first, they're typically easier to get a hold of at the lower prices. Again, it's pretty new, and like the Rolls-Royce, the main problems noted by owners are running cost related. The W12 does have cylinder deactivation to run on 6 instead, but even then 20 miles per gallon is a reasonable expectation. Instead, I would note the maintenance cost will be expensive, and there are some options you probably want to find, including the pano roof and a properly spec'd interior. So I hope you guys are enjoying this video. If you are, then do hit the like button and subscribe as well if you're new. And let me know in the comments down below, of the 5 cars on this list, which one would you actually want to live with day to day? I think this might be the first time in the history of this channel that I've been able to do 2 videos in a row with a Ferrari on each list, but I'm definitely not complaining, as I wanted to include this Ferrari FF as an insanely cool luxury exotic Grand Tourer. The engine in the FF is closely related to a bunch of other V12s you'll find in some very special Ferraris, including the LaFerrari and F12, meaning it's a 6.3-litre V12 to be exact, putting out 650 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 3.6 seconds, which is pretty mental for a 4-seater family Grand Tourer. Ferraris are rarely cheap to buy new, particularly front-engine ones, which typically cost the most and depreciate the most too in their early years. This and the age of the car is why the FF is the most depreciated car on the list, as today you'll find them starting at around £90,000, with 100k getting you into a 2014 model with 30k on it, compared to its new price of just under 230k in 2011, which is £321,000 adjusted for inflation. That's a pretty aggressive fall, just under 72% total, but luckily the lowest rate of depreciation at 6% annually. I absolutely love the styling on this car. It's a shooting brake design, and with its estate looks and Ferrari badge, you're absolutely outdoing anyone in an RS6 in one of these on pure head turning capability. The interior is typically Ferrari too, such a lovely place to be, not over the top but luxurious and sporty in all the right ways. Genuinely, until you drive a Ferrari, it can be quite hard to understand the way these make you feel when you sit in them, but my word is it good. The 2 most common mechanical issues with the FF come from the PTU and the DCT, and that latter issue isn't actually covered by Ferrari power warranty from what I've seen on forums, so can be a costly thing to go wrong. Each one has an aftermarket fix which costs around 7 to 10k to sort. The batteries are also known to be a bit weak, and the electrics more broadly can be a bit dramatic for no reason, so people like to upgrade the batteries on them. Then outside of that, maintenance costs will be Ferrari maintenance costs. Taking the top spot thanks to its relentless pace is this, the Porsche Panamera e-hybrid Turbo S, which very much straddles the line of performance and luxury. It's more performant than everything on this list, but its version of luxury is definitely more akin to the Ferrari or Mercedes, as opposed to going ultra luxury with the Rolls or to an extent the Bentley. That performance comes from its 4-litre twin turbocharged V8 engine combined with an electric motor to produce 690 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 3.1 seconds, which is utterly ridiculous pace, half a second faster than the Ferrari to 60, and it just keeps pulling. In line with Porsche's recent depreciation, however, it has lost around 60% of its value since its release 6 years ago, from an adjusted for inflation price of £175,000 to around 70k at the bottom end today, with 100k getting you a nice 2021 example with 14,000 miles on it. That's annual depreciation of around 10%, actually not too bad. There are 2 main body styles these come in, the standard liftback and the Sport Turismo estate styling, which I would probably say is better looking than the FF we just spoke spoke about, and though that FF is more exotic, if you're a proper estate or shooting brake fan, this is probably the car for you, especially given that on release, it became the world's most powerful stock estate car, more powerful than the E63S and RS6. The interior isn't really focused on luxury, rather you're benefiting from Porsche's typically sporty come luxury design in there, so you won't find ridiculous features in there like the Wraith or Bentley, but you will still find the main luxuries you need to be comfortable on longer journeys, and to be honest, if you're looking for a Grand Tourer that can comfortably handle more than 2 passengers from this list on a longer journey, this is the car to go for. There have been the odd complaints here and there on forums about the PDK or about one that isn't charging its batteries or things like that, but in terms of actual common problems, I couldn't find anything glaring. Instead, like all the other cars on this list, when you buy into a luxury brand, your main costs are likely to be ongoing maintenance, running costs, and depreciation. And as we know, Porsche are on a bit of a depreciation spiral right now, so your best bargain may come in the not too distant future. And so there you have it, 5 super luxurious Grand Tours you can get for under £100,000, a lot of money. We've got some cheaper videos coming up, so make sure you're subscribed for those. And click up here to see some much cheaper Grand Tours instead. Massive thanks to the patrons and support, and you guys are all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.